Good morning and welcome back to another episode on the Coin King channel. I am your host, Down to Crypto TA. Bitcoin dropped into that $90,000 territory. It actually went slightly lower than that, which is something that you were aware of. I would never think that a specific target would hold exactly. It is trying to defend this area right now. It is still the highest point of open interest. It also has the highest volume at the moment here. Um, it just doesn't seem like any relief is in sight, to be honest with you. We are losing every bit of support, every bit of support. As you already know, we are well below our 60 EMA in here. Generally, just here off of the weekly time frame alone, a lot of the signals in here do suggest that we are in a bear market, or we are at the start of the bear market. Let me put it like that. We're at the start of the bear market, and we can see a lot of the altcoins are really bleeding out at the moment. Like Solana, which we looked at yesterday. Ooh, it is rough, my people. It is rough. It is rough. See here. See. We're still getting bear divs. With every attempt to push prices up higher, we are still getting bear divs. I was just taking a look at the ETF here for Bitcoin. And you can see right in here, you can see how the implied volatility was going up as price was going down. That is added selling pressure to the market. This isn't up to date right now because the market is closed. At the moment, traditional markets are closed at the moment. You can see all the volume that's coming in right here as well. So when I look at it here, uh, this is just coin glass here. You can see 85 once again. It's like one of the highest open interest price targets here. Yesterday it was so back and forth between the 90 and the 85, and now it's back to the 85. But when I looked at the volume, all of the volume was sitting right here around the 90,000. So lots of activity. I mean, that's what price is too. So it kind of makes sense, right? We see a nice spike of volume here at the $90,000 territory, and everything else in front of that it has zero comparison. Zero comparison. We may be able to get back to this 100,000. I know yesterday I was talking about 108 to 110. We may be able to just get back to the $100,000 territory and see a rejection from there. I see a couple of other areas in here we're going to find some resistance from as well. Here, let me see. Here also, just looking at the gamma exposure here, you can see how far we are from. Well, this. Oh, sorry, that's Meta. My bad. My bad. Did not mean to put you on Meta. Okay. And I know that this is the ETF and the price is a little bit different, but still you can see how far we are from the gamma flip here. As we continue to bleed out, once we start to pull into this right here, we'll start to see more buying more buying pressure probably stepping in, more of a squeeze will take place in here. As long as we're moving further away from it, it's just going to be added selling pressure to the market. So 85,000, I would, I mean, we have that in mind already. As we're watching it here on the Bitcoin chart, we already have that in mind. That we could see that $85,000 be hit. Right now, we are getting a good little bounce. Like I said, trying to defend that $90,000 territory. I don't see anything in the chart right now that says the 4 hours about to let up. Nothing at the moment. And I have combed through it, and even with the CC, where generally once it gets down there into those lows, you start to see some sort of a curve in price action. It has completely dropped below. We were looking at the possibility of a squeeze yesterday on stream, and that ended up breaking to the downside, which I have to say, I did mention I can't see how they could be so close to the CME gap and not fill it in, but still, based on how I read that Bollinger Band, it typically would have expressed a break to the upside, but we got the complete opposite. So when we look at the Bollinger here, you can see how the squeeze that was presented in here, how we started to get that little push up. I said to look for any sort of bear div in here though, because that was the thing that had, been keeping price going, from pushing higher, was the bear div. And we absolutely got that bear div right here around this 20 SMA. Well, price rejected that. We got that bear div. And instead of price getting a squeeze break to the upside here, we ended up breaking down here. So you can see right here how we put in the bear div right here with the higher high and the lower high over here. And it just continues to really be that way. You can see how we ended up breaking the support level in here as well. Underneath it looks like we tried to come back test it. We got another push down, and we're trying it again now. So hopefully we can see a push back up above this level here to come out of this weakness. It doesn't mean that we automatically just blast through here, but I mean, we're just really putting in bear divs, and we have to get to a place to where we can see interest coming in, because the only way you get in bear divs is if you don't have new interest. And at this point, it just doesn't seem like Bitcoin has any new interest. This chart here, Zcash, because I know it had been like the one thing that was actually giving some winning vibes here, and that's even been struggling a bit. I know yesterday on stream I was saying that there was this point here and there's this point right here. I wouldn't be interested in taking a long at this point right here, because you're too close to these highs in here, and all you could see was topping tail. So it didn't make sense to want to enter a long right here, even though people did try that in here. You can see how it swept that previous day low here, and it got that little bit of a bounce only to come back down and continue down. And then we got down here to the one where I said I will start to get interested right here, see how price holds up around this previous day low, as well as this ascending trend line in here. I'm starting to break that momentum again here. The first time was fine. This time right here, I don't like seeing it happen twice, but that is what's happening. We got a small little bounce here after the sweep there, back test, a little sweep again. And yeah, we dropped down here into the ascending trend line, this line right here. So this is momentum breaking to the downside here on Zcash. It does look like a little bit of a pizza in here. So some sort of a falling wedge, possibly. It's just every time you see how close these steps are in here, these pivots, see how close they are. So when price is trying to come up, it runs slap into resistance. And that's been one of the major things right here. Trying to come up, you run straight into resistance. Trying to come up, you run straight into resistance again. So I did attempt a long on this, and again, like I said, it looks like it's breaking the momentum, and it may come down further. If it does come down further, I am looking here. I'm going to end up deleting these, this wedge that I plotted the price in between. I'm going to start looking down here, at least until the 4 hour starts to look a little bit different. It looks like I might have to look down in here. Now there is a golden pocket if I pull the fib from that low to this high. There's the golden pocket with the highs that are in here, where it may be able to find some support before making its way down here. But either way it goes, it really, like, once you start to break these, I like to refer to them as momentum lines. It's like having a moving average on your chart, and you start to break below those. Um, it's not good. It's not good. Sentiment isn't there at the moment, and it may have a lot to do with the fact that Bitcoin is selling off, and most people feel like Zcash is just, it's a balloon. you know, it's overhyped, overvalued at the moment, regardless of this idea of privacy. Who's really using it? Because we're always talking about the tech, but who's really using it? So it's hype unless it's really being utilized like that. And I don't think that that is the case. I'm going to continue to see if we can't play out something nice here off of Zcash. But at the moment, I know that the RSI, you can see here, is still trending down. A lot of chopping here with the RSI. Delta looks pretty close to the zero line. It is a negative 2.46, so it's pretty close to the zero line, but not coming above it. This was the one time right here where it made some sort of attempt, but we could see that it had the rising wedge pattern in here, so was looking for that breakdown. But aside from that, you can see how the momentum was going out here. Just looking here at the MACD alone, momentum was going out and failing to get above the zero line. So just kind of walking the line and keeping price suppressed is all I'm saying. So that the rising wedge from yesterday was this right here. This is the rising wedge here inside of the ascending broadening top. And I'm just gonna take this away for a sec. And you can see what that looks like. I have to put it to a line chart so you can actually see it. And here you can really tell what's happening off of this chart versus on the 1 hour time frame, where you start to see the little small bounces in between. You can really see the selling pressure here on the 4 hour time frame, which is another thing here. I kind of figured that because of this right here, because of this break, we got this break here, which aligned with that break there from the rising wedge, and it has stayed pinned down. The signal line is somewhere all the way in here, up here somewhere, which, like I said yesterday, it could retrace back to it. It may be a cloud cover if it did retrace back to it, but it hasn't even attempted to move back towards it. When I look at that right here, you can see how it's all the way up here. It's far from price action. It's far from a point of this right here. And like I said, if it had have gotten a move back up to it, I would have treated it like a cloud cover. And you can see how a cloud cover actually rejects. So that just tells me that there's more selling pressure here for Zcash. Even here you can see the delta just declining, like full steam ahead, declining. MACD here looks like it is about to cross the zero line here. It's at a 6.28, and once it crosses that zero line, that's more selling pressure. That'll probably end up putting Zcash somewhere down in here. But we would be looking at maybe the 786 here with the next ascending trend line here, which would also mean we want to see that hold. We don't want to continue to break the momentum. It is in the ascending broadening top. That's the other thing, which is a bearish formation. I don't want to start getting overly bearish on Zcash. I just, and that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to be overly bearish with Zcash at all, because it has been one of the better performers. I'm just highlighting the things that I'm seeing in the chart and the possibilities. It doesn't mean that they have to play out, but as long as you're aware of them, then you'll know what to expect, right? So it is in the ascending broadening formation, which is typically a bearish pattern, and you would be looking for price to break down out of it. break to the downside from something like this. I think that we'll take a step back here, back to the, is it my 1 hour time frame? I do believe it is. You can see how price is currently below the 200 EMA, and it was rejecting right here at that 200 EMA, as well as the 10 EMA there. So it's rejecting. And it doesn't look like it's about to let up. It doesn't look like it at all. Price would need to get above here, which is above the peaks in here, get above the lows in here of resistance, and above this point here. So that is about 609. We'll just say 610. It has to get above 610 to even manage to push up a little bit higher in here towards the 630 to 645, which would just be capping the lows in here. It is trying. It is trying. I'm still waiting for a break above here. It did have like a slight little break right here. But again, like I said, just based on the 4 hour time frame, you can see how it had that little swing fail right here to let you know it was coming down, at which point I then move it, and I'm looking for a break above. That's Zcash. And I don't think that any of the other ones are doing any better at the moment. I know we were looking at, okay, so this one just looks like it just got a reclaim here. I don't need this in here anymore. I'll delete that. That was the point in here for Dash. I think it was for a different time frame though. It couldn't have been for this one. Just looking for it to get above the 50 for the RSI to start to show some strength. And you can see right here the point that we start to break back down below it, coming back. Yeah, that would have fired off a sell signal right above that candle there. I'll leave it in here. All right, so at least the delta over here is starting to look a little bit better here on the 1 hour time frame. It tried right here as well. Do have a trend line through here to watch for any sort of break. You be entering kind of late and into resistance, so you don't want to pick up there. You want to at least be able to get a pullback and away from the resistance, or either wait for it to break above the resistance to get in on it, which would mean a reclaim back above this golden pocket right here. This was that daily low we were looking at yesterday, where I said that if it, came down below this daily low here and swept it and came back up, I'd probably get interested in it. But most of the privacy tokens are not as good as Zcash, so I just rather mess with Zcash. Zen was doing good. That's the resistance point we were looking for yesterday here. So it is somewhat still performing. Target is still in play for it with the inverse head and shoulder here on Zen. It's it's still doing good, but still looking for some sort of resistance in here, which is just going to be the lows in here. And then we'll see if it can't make the rest of the target in here. But it has been performing rather well. Basically still around the same zone as yesterday. Still pretty much around the same zone as yesterday. Price was right in here when we started talking about it. It was just right here at the line. Had just validated the neckline break, and it did manage to push up a little bit higher before rejecting, but still holding the 26 EMA. Monero was another one. And this would be based on it would have to be moved at this point. It is still moving within this triangle formation here with the higher lows and lower highs. So we'll just be looking to see at which direction this plans to break out of. I'm just going to move this in here. Now I'm just going to move it right here. Just set it out of the way. So obviously, you probably wouldn't want to depend on the 200 EMA since price is dipping below it and reclaiming above it. That could be an entry point if you see price come below it and then reclaim into it if you weren't already in this one right here. If you think that it's going to get a chance to break out and then fulfill that measured move, that would be the idea. But if you do start to see it break below this ascending trend line right here, you probably want to be out of it. Yeah, you could do like an SFP and see a reclaim, something like that. Mm. But you want to see that with volume too, if that did happen. Otherwise, yeah, once it breaks this, you don't want to be in it. It stays within it, wicks below or drops below the 200 and reclaims the 200. That seems to have been a great place to get into it every time. So I would try to stick with that rhythm. If it fails, then you know to leave it alone. And then the other thing that we were looking at was uni, which, like I said, if uni starts to come down, which it did. These lows in here where you have these relatively equal lows, that's liquidity. That's up for grabs. Then I start to look somewhere down here. I'd be thinking that price is going to continue to fall over. So maybe somewhere down here around 53. I'm sorry, $5.30 for uni. And Bitcoin just tapped into that resistance off the 4 hour time frame. So I don't know that it's going to be able to push up any higher either. All right, we'll put this back on Zcash. Yeah, that momentum line is definitely broken and likely to continue down to the next one. On to the next one. We'll see how it reacts around these highs in here with the golden pocket. Like I said, that doesn't work. Then I'm going to be looking down here. Really, I'm really looking down here towards this trend line right here. Let's see, 4 hour. Oh yeah, by the time I don't expect for it to get one of these death by 1,000 cuts candles to the downside. It looks like by the time it were to reach down here, this 200 will have risen up a little bit higher in here into this point. And that'd be a clear sign that if this was broken, with this moving up, merging up to this line, that'd be a clear sign that if this was broken, then this is likely to happen next, which, like I said, is your ascending broad and top formation. That's low. I never really like seeing the 60 get broken. See, it's on the daily. We're just hitting the 10. That will put us right here too. Yeah, that will put us right here. Or potentially right there at that 786, 26 right there. I do know that the measured move for the breakdown of this ascending Brownian formation didn't make sense when I did it. I can try that again since price did push up. I'm gonna do it. Turn the magnet off and just do it not from the top of that candle wick, but just from and just down to that point there. It did make sense when I did it, so it's it's likely not going to be that bad. Yeah, it would take a while for this to fall into place too. Let's just say, let's give it a couple of days. It doesn't make sense that that would be how far it would drop, or even they both pretty close, but hold on, let me make sure. They're both pretty close though. Yeah, it's pretty close in measuring it. Although I don't lean towards that one bit. It's, we're just looking at it. That's it. We're just looking at it. All right, time to sit on our hands with Zcash and allow it to start to show some strength because it doesn't have it right now. Just yeah, it's not here right now. So come back to this in a bit. I think I can go ahead and drop that PDL. I can drop that PDL also. Just focus on the golden pocket and 786 at this point. Okay. All right, let me jump over here to Ethereum, which is holding up rather well against Bitcoin at the moment. It's still within the range here, still holding above this momentum line in here as well. Yeah. This would be the next point, with the point of control is also in here. And let me see. Yeah, Ethereum's holding up very well against Bitcoin, very well. And I was looking at ETH over here on CoinGlass, and you can see where the highest spike of volume is in here, around $4,000, which is something I have in the chart over there for strike call. It's about 4,000. If it continues to perform well against Bitcoin, it's still below that first high volume node. Yeah, so nothing's really changed in here for Ethereum. The notes remain the same. Everything remains the same for it. Just fall off into a cliff right here. I actually tried to pull up some Solana data ETF data, but it doesn't have enough information there to even use it. I couldn't pull up the implied volatility or anything. No gamma exposure, no call put exposure. Um, I couldn't pull up anything for it. But ETH, like I said, ETH is performing pretty well here against Bitcoin. Notes was still the same in here. Max pain 3,200. We lost this level in here. Be likely flush down to 3,000, which we've already taken out 3,000. We're around that point right now. If we do get a push up, then I'll be looking for price to come back into 4,000. And the call dominance was down here around 2,000, which is the bear market lows. So still the same here. Solana with a little bounce here off of the 786. Solana just looks terrible, which could be a good time to buy it. I'm not adding to my Solana position. What I have is what I have, and in fact, I'm really ready to get out altogether. Like, this has been the worst crypto return market period. Like, you've had select things to actually perform well. Very few things perform well. And you really had to have an interest in those. A lot of the things that did perform well came as a surprise. And you don't want to have a ton of things in your portfolio anyway, just a few things that you can manage. But it did get that little bounce there off of that 786, which we needed to see that. Getting a little bit too close here to our ascending trend line here, along with the 200 EMA. And like I shared yesterday, we start to, I put in here 120. I had it set for 99. I just wanted to give it a number, but really, once we break this trend line through here, it's not going to be good. We're already in bear market territory below 145, with the possibility of losing this level and then seeing Solana come all the way back down here towards $30-something, 40-something bucks. It's not going to be a good feeling to round trip a bag like that, you know. Pretty high volume right here, which we are below. We are below. All right, so that was the point of control. We are below it. Hold on, what was that value area low? All right, so just down to the value area low as well. I don't think we quite tapped that. But obviously, that could be seen just right here with this trend line right here. Lose this. I don't know. I might need to do an unlock and get out. Get out. Come back over here and use this chart here for a sec. Let's take a look at. I don't think this has moved much. Yeah, we got our move. I finished that up right there, down into the 214. That's what we were talking about down in here. Very cookie cutter again for XRP. So I don't know what time frame this is coming from, but it can't be this one. It wasn't, and I need to block it. You can already see the Swing failed there. Doesn't look like it's quite ready anyway. I'm just going to move that there. It's been underneath this 50 for a long time. It looks like it needs a mean revert to even matter. But we can look for a break there. And then, like I said, it looks like it's going to have to get a mean reversion. That means above 50. Otherwise, this is all going to be resistance at some point. 4 hour. I'm not going to stay here and stare at it. If it breaks it and it clears that 50, then great. 50 probably would reject it right there at that 26, which is currently sitting at 224. Solana we've already looked at. Crow, hot mess. See, Aster is up. That's pretty cool. Sui. Oh yeah, that completely failed. I think I was looking at this on the 15-minute time frame. Yeah, that completely. Yeah, that completely failed. It's supposed to be a reclaim above the golden pocket, and when it did, it still broke down. Sadness. I'll try it again right here though. Not that I'm in it. I'm not, but I like the fact that the 200 is sitting there. So a break and retest this time. Yeah. So we have to do something like breaking above it, back testing it, and then go. I have to do something like that at this point. Otherwise, it could just be a rejection there. I probably had this on. Time frame was I using daily? Let me block this. I mean, we can already tell from the daily. No good. Just no good. Staying in relative weakness to possible neutral, but barely getting into even neutrality is barely getting into that. So relative weakness here for Sui. It's supposed to just be this looks like something that absolutely breaks down. Dang, that RSI got terrible. Jeez. We'll put it on this one. That's terrible. I'm going to slide this over. Yeah, this looks like it breaks down. Yeah, come up, possible rejection, and then back down. That's what that looks like, BNB. It still looks the same from yesterday. We just plotted this trend line right here, identified that it did meet the measured move in here from this range. this range that almost all the altcoins had on it, that most of them broke down from. Oh, speaking of which, did Sol fulfill that range? Let's see. Solana. No, not yet. I'm just going to skip back over here real quick. So we still have room, even though I know that that was the value area low to 786, and relatively close to that 200 EMA and that ascending trend line there. Solana still has some room to go to fill in this measure move in here. See that we were rejecting from here. I guess if we reclaim this here, I really don't know if I wanted to do it like that, or if I think I looked at this the other day. I think I looked at that. I might need it to. Yeah. Either way it goes, it's broken. Either way it goes, it's broken. So, but can see that it rejected off of here. Rejecting those lows right there. So still got some room here to fill this in all the way down to 113. All right. So BNB so far is holding this pretty well. I would hate for price to stall out in here just to eventually get that break to the downside. That's the only thing right now. Because it's not managing to get above this 10 in here. At times, it's rejecting off of the 5. And the 5 right now is sitting at 920. Sorry, I just want to see this from a lower time frame. Yeah. So again, it looks like it either rejects here or it manages to get that push up into 941, perhaps 941, and reject for 941. A quick little short. It looks more interesting here. But either way, it's at resistance. And then that'll be the next point. It's a pretty big gap. Pretty big gap right now. Huge gap. I still like this RSI formation. It's nothing until it starts to break that momentum, though. Starts to show some strength. It's the same thing would apply that I was saying yesterday. I don't I'm not leaning towards price coming down here and filling in this entire wick. If price did pull back, I'd be looking somewhere around 34. If it continued to drop here, I'd be looking somewhere around 34. It does have a little bit of bullish divvy in here. I don't see any bear div on this rise right here. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I don't see a bear div on that rise there. There was no bear div on, well, just between here and here. There was the bear div. But other than that, I think that's the reason why I like this enough. It still doesn't look like it would get very far. But a 30 cents move is it's better than what it's seeing right now. A 30 cents move up. It's better than what it's seeing right now. All right, Zcash looks like it put in a little bit of bullish divergence. I'm gonna go back over and check that out. It is above those lows. I still don't like it because it broke down below that momentum, that trend line. I don't know who's really into ADA, but it's not. Yeah, even the bull divs aren't playing out. This gap needs to it needs to start to close a little bit. Need to see this rising to close up this gap some. That's not happening. Huge gap. Terrible momentum. Terrible. Oh yeah. This is no bueno. No good. This is no good. This is no good. Even with the unconfirmed bull div in here. I think I did look at the weekly time frame. Yeah, that's no good. You see your last few times your delta or your MACD crossed below the delta. You can see the last few times. Here it recovered rather quickly right here for this push right here up. Here you can see how it dragged it out just a little bit more. And here You can see, yeah, how badly it started to sell off and how it kept this gap in between here. It wasn't, yeah, it was back over here once it crossed back up the delta. Oof. Below the 200. Change of market structure. Yes, it's just no good. You can look for small little moves in between, small little bounces, but it's really no good. Hype. Okay. Still descending out. This might be good. It's not confirmed yet, but this might be good. Here with hype. I really don't know how everything else is going to perform against Bitcoin, to be honest with you. I'm not buying anything else at this point. Nothing. I don't care how low it gets. I think I do have like chain link buy orders, but that's about it at this point. I changed my mind. With the exception of that one. This could be good. This could be good though. Rejected here twice. You could look for another rejection here. And that's at 42.30, say 42.32 here on Hyperliquid. But if it breaks above it, then it clears out any of the bearish divergence that you can see it would be putting in above here. You can already see here that the RSI is moving faster than price action at the moment. RSI is moving faster than price action. So unconfirmed bear div on it right now, just with this push up. But if it does come here and it starts to break above it, this is going to absolutely push much higher. You tend to see some sort of acceleration once you get above a 60 anyway. So we'll see how that goes. Looks like Zen. It looks like, oh, okay, yeah, I had already did all of that. And I said I was going to leave this in here. See how I forget I did something? Then I come back and I have the same sentiment. I come back and I have the same sentiment for it. So I'm not just blowing smoke out my behind, as you can tell. First thing I did was turn off all the technicals, all the stuff that I put in here, and it's like, yeah, you said that and did that. Because I straight up forgot. So I'm liking it. Asta with the 14% move. This is never going to happen. I can stop dreaming about it at this point. And this one broke to the upside. And it tapped it for a little bit of a reaction right there. And why do I have all of these on? So yeah. This one did the opposite, did not break down. It broke up instead. And I remember I was looking for it to pull back here. I haven't actually looked at it, and it did pull back slightly, but it never broke the low. Typically, when I see it sweep the high, I look for it to come back in here and sweep the low. This one didn't do that. Either sweep the low or run on the low. I don't usually do that. So I don't know why it's like that. Because I don't usually do that. It's kind of weird. Might have separated this. I did. Okay, so it is at resistance, not just the measured move being reached. It is at resistance between 136 to 141. We'll just say 142. It's at resistance. think it comes back and below that. Looks pretty good. If it gets past this resistance right here, then I'd be looking up here at this point right here. This must be fresh since I dotted it out. Or it's the most interesting point. I think that one and this one probably most interesting since I dashed them out. So yeah, resistance would more so be in here than in here. And there is 148 to 157. So if it keeps pushing, I would look for resistance to come in right here. Looks pretty good. Already got a bear div or pending bear div in here. RSI failing to move as high as it did previously. Not even getting above 70. That didn't seem to matter right here because it didn't pull back too much, at least not from a 4-hour perspective. It didn't pull back too much when it got the bear div here. MACD still climbing. Yeah, it looks like if it pushes, if it does, like again, if it does push up through here, this would be the resistance point right in here. So here with the bear div be a good place to look for a good enough pullback on this, a strong pullback on here on Aster. Maybe not so strong. Maybe just back here into these highs. Yeah, maybe just back somewhere in here for support and then continuation. Yeah. We'll see how much of a bear div it puts in here. I'm going to assume it has the potential to do that. Then maybe come back somewhere down in here, capture this, and then get a continued move up. This looks pretty good. $129. So this lines up with that 5 EMA. 5 EMA was just at 129. So I guess you really want to see that hold. Yeah, I should want to see that hold. That's what the 5 is at. 130. Yeah, want to see that hold. Otherwise, it comes back down below that 5. And that's what it was chopping underneath. Mm-mm-mm. Crucial. All right. Yeah, it's going to be crucial. Be working for nothing right here. I see cash sucking right now. So I'm about to look at a 3-day. Yeah, looks terrible. Looks terrible. This might have the potential to get back to double zero four. I don't really see it being able to get back up here. Maybe somewhere in here it could get back to. I wouldn't see it doing. And even that's giving. That's really being gracious. I don't really see it doing any more than that. If it does, it does. This would definitely say buy it since it's managing to push out of extreme fear at this low. So people are willing to accumulate it here. It's where it's bounced a few times before. So a move up, let's just say off of where it is now into here. It's like a 28% move. It's not bad. This is, yeah, it's not bad. And these are all things I wouldn't put my money in, though, to be honest. I wouldn't put my money in it. But this would be saying buy me right now. I could see that. Like I said, above 40. That's how I usually set my indicators. And it would be a scalp for something like that, which I'm pretty sure it fired it off earlier. I can't pull any data. Can't pull any data on this. Yeah, it would have been a scalp. Huh. Sadness. Yeah. It's definitely too far away right now to really want to get into it. I would wait for it to pull back down again. This is a place where it has bounced a few times before, so that could have a lot to do with it. It would be a speculation pump, and I wouldn't be looking for it to do too much. Yeah, I wouldn't be looking for it to do too much. If it does, then great. But I would just treat it like a like an intraday trade or something like that. It's not something I just idly sit on, but it's definitely the place to want to take it in here. It's a little close to resistance too, right here. Far enough away that if you did enter into it, you could set your stop. I most certainly wouldn't have a stop loss down here. I have a stop below the most recent candle. If anything, since the prior one didn't take out that low, I would assume that this one wouldn't take this one out. And if it did, then it, validates the move back down. Pump. I had some stuff mapped out on Litecoin. It must not be, yeah, it's not from this pane. I'm just trying to find somewhere where the RSI made a little bit more sense. Relative strength made more sense for it. It looks like the 3-day time frame is a good one for me to look at. And then the weekly, yeah, trying to hold 200. It looks like we get some continuation down though. I know that it tapped bear market lows on that wick down. None of this is crossing, which is good. I think the last time I looked at it, one of the things I said, it's nice to see that this slimmed down in comparison. You can see how wide all of this was before. It's actually slimmed down. So I think it's good for Litecoin. I think Litecoin will perform well. It's just not hitting it right now. It's a crazy outside bar. Tell you one thing, these red candles are overwhelming. Very overwhelming. This is consolidation though. I think that was probably what I highlighted too. Bitcoin, let me refresh this so I can make sure, because sometimes Blowfin don't refresh. All right, Bitcoin's still holding the same place. I just wanted to make sure on that. Zcash still climbing down a little bit. Yeah, I know I did some mapping on this, but I had this in a range, a sideways range, because it is just consolidating right now. I think, hold on, I don't know why I turned that on. That's never good. I mean, we could just look for a move back down here if it's going to come back in. Like if Bitcoin is going to play out the bear market scenario to lows, I would expect for this to also do that and come back down into here. I haven't looked at this in a minute against Bitcoin. Set resistance against Bitcoin. This is Litecoin still looks like it's going to perform very well. I'm just waiting on this break to happen. So that consolidation on Litecoin, I would say that has to be accumulation. And we're just waiting for that breakout against Bitcoin to really see this thing get some life back into it because it's been lifeless for a long time, right? I didn't want to move that one. I don't know why I double compounded on that. Did I? No, I didn't. I'm gonna delete this. I think the last time I looked at this, I said I was gonna leave it in here, even though it invalidated it because it wasn't just a sweep. Since this came from the daily time frame here, I invalidated if price starts closing back inside of it. Well, if price closes outside of it and then closes back inside of it from the time frame that I draw it from, then it's invalidated. So we're squeezing now in between this descending trend line here and the one here at the low. We're already in the bear market territory here for for Chainlink. We wouldn't expect for price to go below. That's 8. Yeah, 808. Wouldn't expect for price to go below 808. So with that said, I probably cap it off right here at this weekly level right here at 910. Really like to see it hold above here, not come below this point, but we are trading within the bear market territory. In fact, I set up my buy order on this one right here, and then I said I would buy again at this top here, which is 1206. And I don't want it to break below here, but I do have a buy order set up for there too. Not the 8, but the 910. But it is squeezing in here. I wonder if I can see it off of the Bollinger or not. Not really. Above the 20 SMA when it breaks this trend here, which could potentially set it back to $18. Oh, I gotta fix that. I've got to fix that. Yeah. Yeah, possibly push it back right here. If we get the break to the upside, I'll probably just come back into here. Which if it holds this low here is actually 1297. So just say 1290. Just drop it down 1296. If it pushes up from here, and I won't bother with trying to push it up all the way. I just do it here. That looks like 30, and that's 35. It's about a 30 to 35% move back up here to $18. As it squeezes in here. Yeah, everything depends on this break here. Yeah. So that trend line is validated. H bar, the last time I looked at it, I said it was inside of a range. Not really. Yeah, where did I pull this from? Yeah. This mother bar. It's this mother bar right here. And price action is moving in between. So if it did break, actually it already did, didn't it? I'd just be looking for a sweep. Yeah, it did a little bit right there. I would just be looking for a sweep and not an actual breakdown of this low. I know that was the bear market low, or potentially was what would have been the bear market low. Looks like it will hold here. I mean, EMAs don't always hold price action, but that looks like it will hold here. It held it pretty well right there and right there. So maybe another attempt at sweeping down here. And then it manages to get a bounce away. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it. This looks different over here. I'm not gonna move it though. Maybe once price starts moving. If price starts to move up, then I come back in and change this to account for those wicks right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 13. It's at 13.0138. Every time I block something, it doesn't show up. Actually, let me change this color. Maybe it decides it wants to sweep it again. I will look for it to hold somewhere around here. But so far, it looks pretty decent. Wouldn't be looking for too much of a move to the upside for starters. And I can see how awful that looks now. Now that I'm looking at it like that. I drew it off of this daily. Probably just back up here to the trend line here. Let me look back at this. I put this in here because, oh, okay, yeah. I remember now. I put this in here because this was the highest point that the RSI actually made on the daily time frame. And I recall when I was first looking at the fact that it was in this ascending broadening formation here, when I first looked at that, I was like, yeah, we probably get stopped out in here. I'm not big on taking shorts right now. It should be. It should have did that. Because I was like, once that RSI comes up, it has to be able to get above this point over here. We got this information right here. We put in the strongest bear div ever that I've seen in a while for a daily time frame. And without paying attention on this next push up, I had plotted this in here. I hadn't actually looked back at the daily time frame. I've been so focused on the lower time frames. I likely could have caught that. The fact that it came back up here, back tested this trend line here, and SFP'd it for another short. That's why I need to start putting alerts on stuff. I do it on some things, as you've seen, but I haven't done it on everything. So this could get, we'll see. Let's see what happens. It's definitely retail driven. Now you have a couple of people with some big money. Um, Showing some more interest in it, but I mean, like, who's really using it though? It's been nice. It has been nice to play with it, and I barely played with it, honestly. I think I've taken like 3 trades on it so far. 2 I won, and I got stopped out on another one. Or maybe more like 4. Just bear div after bear div. Jeez. Which is okay because it's in an uptrend. So usually when you see it put in the bear div, you'll notice the bullish divergence. Because it's in the uptrend, you really wouldn't focus too much on the bear divs. Same way if something's in a downtrend, you wouldn't focus too much on the bullish divergence. You focus more so on the bearish divergence. So this is just fueling it to go higher, but it's very retail driven. Very retail driven. Exaggerated bullish divvy here. Drop down. The first one you would expect to bounce because the RSI was so high. You would expect the bounce and you would expect for it to fail to be able to meet the same standard. Then it comes back down, puts in the bullish divvy. Multiple drives of bullish divergence. For the next push up, another bear div. Drop down for the bullish divergence. Fact, let me see. What is this doing? It'll be a long fall. If we do start to lose these support levels in here, I would gauge the RSI to see it drop back down into here, wherever it meets this trend line at right here. This one. And so I don't think this RSI gets back to this sort of euphoria. And just change that to red. Actually, let me change it to this. So I'm not looking that far back, thinking I have a reason to look back there. Which one's the highest? I might attempt that long position again right here. Just looking at 15. Give it a minute. Bitcoin is holding up. I'm gonna jump back over there on Zcash in just a sec. But Bitcoin is holding up. It's at resistance at the moment. Actually, it's not quite reached it yet. Not here. I can see that it is at resistance against something else, but yeah, it's about there. It's holding up okay in here. Put greater than. Sometimes it'll fire off a false alarm. I'm sorry, I didn't even put you over here. I was just saying how Bitcoin was coming into potential resistance, but if it breaks above it, then it's reclaiming that momentum, and that's a good thing. I just set an alert on it for it to ring the bell once it gets above here. Sometimes it will set off a false alarm, just because it's around it. But it's holding. That could be nice on a daily close. Oh no, please don't. As I put it on just in case. Just not something I'm looking for. I mean, 85,000, I know, but still. $80,000. Maybe like it did here. We could see that again. I don't want to see price get all the way down here, but maybe like it did there, where it tapped into it and it came back up and it back tested it. And then it got that continuation down into the bear market lows. Could be something like that. Yeah, just like that. And then we have the head and shoulder. Yeah, that could be us, people. Since 80,000 is an area of interest, that could be us. And let's just assume for a sec here. I'm going to do it like this. Excuse that point right there. I'm going to do it like this. And I'm not looking to be perfect because I don't know. I don't know. And something like this could tie into the idea of what I was saying before about the RSI, how each time the RSI dropped lower and lower every time. It dropped lower, it dropped lower, it dropped lower. It's never broken below 40. And if it repeats the pattern of dropping lower, then it's likely going to drop 40, which means that we could overshoot the bear market low. For the first time, it probably could come into this 200. It's never tapped that 200. It'd be a harsh winner. That would be a harsh winner. I guess if I did this, I had to do it like that. Wherever this lands at. Change this to blue. That's the idea we're going to play with. Potential bounce, back test, head and shoulder, breakdown, possibly breaking below the bear market low target. Hold on. Huh. I know this will move by then. Possibly it will have moved by then. Let me make sure. Hold on. Make sure that's 200. It's not. It's not 200. It's 120, which has been slapping. Yeah, that's right. I can't pull up. Can't pull up 200. So I went with the 120. And 120 is simply me saying, because I used a 60 instead of a 50. You can do 100. You don't have to do 120. I just double up on that 60. So 60 plus 60, 120. And it has been working out for a lot of large caps, that 120. Zcash still rejecting and rolling over, but that's to be expected, I guess, based on its 4 hour. Based on its 4 hour. A little breaking continuation on down here. You get on down here, Zcash. It's going to be pretty bearish too. I mean, we're already in relative weakness, but once we drop that 30, oof, oof, that could be further bleed out actually, because once your RSI, again, and I repeat this because I like to repeat it, but once your RSI gets an extreme fear, then the first move up just creates bearish divergence, and unless it's a V shape, recovery. It's a daily range. So our lowest point so far was 565, 103. I hope you found patience yesterday, unless you scalped. Like I said, it just wasn't. I wouldn't be interested there. It was topping. It had those topping tails. Like, why get interested? It had these topping tails. Had those same top and tails over here before it did that. Start to get interested around here. Looking for it to hold. It didn't do it. It broke. So now we just look down. Look down to the next one, which will likely put in some bullish divergence. But why is this over here? This isn't the one I just did. No, it's not the one I just did. Okay. Just making sure. I'm just trying to see how this has worked out previously. Then I would have set it here. Would have caught that. And I would set it here. The top one is wick to wick. The lower one is body line chart. And it could be moved and still, I think this point right here would still touch it. What makes it more, no, it doesn't. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, still does. Just seem more effective to do it like that. So if it breaks, then I look for it to push back into it. That was that little slight rejection for Bitcoin. Then we got a game plan for that monthly. I actually like that game plan for Bitcoin monthly. I like it. Maybe at some point in life it'll come back test that. Looks like I can actually put it on that one. Hmm. Imagine seeing that before it happened. All right, let me take a look at some other things while I'm here. All right, when I was looking at the S&P 500 with yesterday, I was saying I was paying attention to this trend line right here, which came from the weekly time frame. So you're not going to see all the connecting points in here. I actually started from a point here and up, but I was saying that until it broke below here, I didn't have any major concerns about it. But once it broke below here, then I started to look for price to get down into here and that 60, 64 to 62, somewhere in here for first support level on it. We did start out yesterday with the bounce away from here, and then the market just vomited, and now we're down below it. A little slight recovery before the day closed on it. S&P 500. So that's what I'm looking for. And like I said, there is a suggestion in the chart that we see it get all the way back down here. There's a suggestion that that happens, which would be a harsh winter or the everything bubble. That's what they're calling it. Everything was rising at the same time, which is uncommon. So everything starts falling at the same time. And it's being compared to the Great Depression. All right. I was also looking at, because I took some profit on some things that I really didn't have a strong position in anymore. and I just wanted to have the extra capital. One of them being Palantir. So I did. I did take my profit out of Palantir while I still had it, and because I didn't have enough of it left anymore from where I initially bought in at $13. So um, I was like, just go ahead and take the money and then wait to reinvest it in something else. It'll be a good opportunity, especially if everything is about to get a nice little move to the downside. Right now, it is still within harmony. If it comes down here to 151 and doesn't manage to hold there, because it is back below the previous month low. It's back below it. It initially did a reclaim of it here, right here, but it is back below it now. Lose that, then I start to entertain the idea of 92 cents here for Palantir. This may have just been, what was this? Okay, this is just another. Okay, yeah. Those were some of the wicks. Some places where it had strong reactions at beforehand. That's all that is. But I will be looking for it to get down this low. If it's the everything bubble, be looking for 92. It can get worse, but 92 would I'd probably buy in at 92 if we get down there. On Palantir, gold holding the line still here, still holding that line. So way to go. I think that this is also where the 200, I think, yeah, 200 line across this line right here. So it breaks this again. That setup that I was mentioning before, that could come to fruition. The one where I had it, where we got the bounce down, I was looking for the move back up to a certain point to take out the highs in here. And then if it rejected, then I'd be looking for price to come down to here. That can be on the table. It's in here. We'll come across it soon enough. All right, I've highlighted this one now because this is the next point of interest here for me for Amazon. I took profit off of Amazon too. I was like, no need of me riding my gains. This was my entry. No need of me riding my gains all the way back down here. If it holds and it bounces away, maybe I'll reconsider taking another position off of it. But I do expect over time for Amazon to make its way down here towards this trend line here. We'll see how we do once we tap into this zone here, which this zone is 226 to 219. See if we make it. Looks like we might have been trying to hang on to these little highs in here. But this is what I'm looking for. And see if we don't hold this trend line in here, hold the momentum in here. We've already had, let's just say 1, 2. This created it. You can call this 2 if you want to. I call it 1 and 2. Usually by the time it does it again, it might break it, but it's on the radar with this box here. And then of course, because it was rejecting from euphoria, the second place I would look before I start to look here is going to be here, holding where harmony is, even though it would change market structure. Likely if it closed below that would change market structure. If it wicked, be something different. It's Alphabet. I haven't changed my mind on Alphabet just yet. I'm still thinking that Alphabet gets up here. And this was before I could identify who it was that actually bought into it, just on the on that account that I have now, it was showing the unusual activity for price action around here. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. If that is the thing. I know some people are starting to pile into it now that they know that Buffett's team, I'm going to say it's Buffett's team, has bought into it. So that is what I'm looking for. This call up to 335 had some huge volume for it. But if it fails, then we got these got these places down here that I'd be looking for to try to find some support. It did break below here. It held above this point, which is where I would naturally be looking for price to come to. I might even said that in the stream. And we got our first red bar here, and then it reclaimed, I guess, off of the information that he was in it. But it still has to break above this point first. That's 296. Let me see which one I got on. Yeah, that's 296. It has to break above here first. I need to apply the other ones because this is just based on the daily time frame. Here. That was gold. I have a stop limit and a TP set up because I haven't taken any profit from NVIDIA, not single time have I taken any profit from NVIDIA. And I know that the possible next target is going to be somewhere down here around 175. The 786 is at 174. But once it breaks this, I mean, really no interest at all here. But I did set up a stop loss of half of my NVIDIA. If it takes out these lows in here, if it takes that out, then I'm looking for it to get worse. Of course, that's something that would happen over time. It looks like it's a big move, and it is for a stock market, but this is a 4-hour time frame also. There was something in here around 133. But like I said, they could be pinning price between that 180 and 200 until the earnings tomorrow. So if for some reason it does decide it wants to pop up here, I'm also set up to take profit too. So I'm just going to be looking to take profit if it can get up here, 220. Be looking to take profit there. Not all of it, but half of it. So either it pops up and it takes out half, or it pops down and it takes out half for me. But either way, I'll be out of half of my position because I really want to lock in profits where I see I really need to do it. I should have been did it, but yeah. Either way it goes. That's what I'm looking at here. Just staying pinned in between here. How I have this set up, just staying pinned in between here until earnings tomorrow, and see which direction it chooses to go in. The market could be taking all of that into account as well, with some of the shakiness we're seeing. Biggest company in the world has earnings, so I'm pretty sure that's being factored in as well. Tesla did reclaim above the range in here. And yes, I think it was yesterday, I pulled this down just to match the weekly energy. I have this on a daily, a 16-hour. Yeah, 16-hour. All right. And it did reclaim the trend line that was running through here as well, which I don't know why that's not showing. Okay, well, 16-hour never closed below it. So yeah, that was great. That was great because I'm still saying I'm looking forward to this right here, not because I'm interested in buying Tesla, because I'm not. I can't even tell how the price of Tesla stock is determined. It's not. It has nothing to do with earnings. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's not being determined by it being a car company. We know that it's based on it being a tech stock, and I really don't know how to look at this because you can get a bad earnings report and it pumps. So um, I'm just going to keep it on the table until it's invalidated, and it's going to have to invalidate it. Usually, like I said, this is a range. So I took away the thesis of it being a double top. It just looks a little funny. Um, but it is a range, not a range with a mother bar, anything like that. So I'm not even counting this right here as some sort of invalidation or anything for this. It's just a range. It is a range, and price action reclaimed a range, reclaimed back above this ascending trend line here. So it's still the possibility, unless it takes out these highs in here, that it can get down here. So I'm keeping this on the table for Tesla. Down here it's like 327. This is just this is just nosediving. It's not enough information in the chart for it. All I know right now is it's continuing to nosedive. Momentum isn't coming up. Momentum isn't coming up, period. So it's just a disaster at the moment. It's not something worth getting into until it starts to show some sort of strength. Otherwise, this is. This can retrace completely. Sometimes you can double up. Am I back here already? Palantir. I guess I am. What else was there for me to look at over here? Hood. I think I was doing hood off of this one right here. Where you at? Right here. Yeah. I told you 110 was the next target in here for me for hood, and then 60. Not 110, 100. I'm sorry. Saying 110. Yeah, 100. It's the next target of interest for me in terms of buying a position into it. And then $60. It just all depends where they're trying to take this thing. I still didn't put in any I have to come back over here and look at this again, because I didn't put any other levels in here to give some better detail on it. But I mean, this is I didn't have another point in here. other than me doing something like this here. I really didn't have another point in here for it. Yeah, heck no. Oh, there's two of these in here. What did I hide? Oh, I hit price action. I probably need to do this from a different. I don't think I can make that any better. I mean, it's after the fact, it's hindsight, but if I just did this based on the midpoint, I guess I should go with the first breakdown. I could have sworn let me see. Might have had something in here. Oh, geez. How hard is this going to be? I really appreciate them doing this magnet feature. Helps a lot. I'm still going to be looking for this, though. See if I did something from this point. I just want to see. Just entertaining myself. Could be something more like that. We'll see. One thing at a time. First thing is going to be me looking at this one hundo. This one hundo. See it on a weekly. Is it?
Been there for almost hour and a half.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's what I'm going to be looking for. 100. That happens. If not, then I'm okay if it goes up. Um, who else was there? Probably won't be over here in this one. Oh yeah, I was looking at this, and I might have been looking at it over here on Meta's chart over here, which I heard somebody. I was watching someone's video yesterday, and they were saying how they were looking to buy in at 550 or whatever. I'm like, do you not? I mean, you can buy in wherever you want to buy in. It's your money. But once it breaks below here, I really have zero interest in it. Like we're already barely holding on right here. You can see that blue line right here. We're barely holding on to it right here. I was looking at the implied volatility on this, which is why I accidentally clicked on Meta's chart earlier. But I was looking at it, and you could see um, how the implied volatility was going up as price was coming down, which means that it's a lot more. It's a lot more bearish, a lot more bearish sentiment around it. So this is this is what I've been waiting on after that first attempt up here. So that failed. This was it around max pain, dark pool area. I think dark pool was more like 588, but it matched up with this golden pocket altogether. And this breaks below the I think I was using a 120 in here. It's not on the daily time frame though. It's on the weekly time frame. So you have that sitting through here. 200 EMA is down a little bit lower than this. It looks, and I said this before. There were some things about this that I didn't like. I'm still long on it. But if it starts to falter, especially anything down here, I'm out. I'm out. Like this is already risking it for the biscuit right in here. Especially like I said, with the implied volatility going up, price coming down, it's just tons. It's a tons of puts. Nobody's really looking for like there's a puts are expensive right now. Calls are super cheap on Meta right now. Calls are super cheap, but puts paying a premium price for it. But they're willing to do that. Unless I see that change. Yeah. Not interested in buying Meta below this line. Not interested in having Meta below here, to be honest. So, yeah. Hang in there, Meta. So on not on this daily, but on this weekly, I may still have it set up like that. No, I need to adjust. Okay, no, it's good. Yeah, I should have it set up where that 120 is right here. I'm just curving down a little bit. I'm still watching Bitcoin and Zcash. That was up for that to be the case. Coming all the way down here. I want to be in it. Mm. But to each his own. So you can see that a little bit better in here. Trying to think why I did that. And that's the 1 year low. Right there. That's everything from this year. That's the high. I don't think why I did this, but I don't see a reason why I did that. Let's actually move this. I'm gonna have to go in and address it. Uh-oh. I'll walk down and fix it. Just to simplify it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want it below here. Not one bit. Zcash is probably pumping too. Or trying. Let's hit that resistance right there. It might. All right, so that's the alert that I put on Bitcoin coming back up this trend line right here. See if we can't push forward with some momentum or if we're going to put in another bear div. But I like the fact that we did reclaim above it. We are hitting slight resistance in here, just as we are with Zcash. Can't see from here really what it is we're hitting. Okay. All right, I can see what it is. When I have these lines in here, I have these lines in the chart. Hold on, where is it? Mm-mm. Hold on. No. Gotta organize. Definitely got to organize. No, I need to get rid of that. I have those. Oh, okay. Yeah, I do. I was like, I know I have it in here somewhere. So it's just these lows in here. $15-minute time frame. Looks like it's lining up with that. That low. We can get up there. While this one hasn't made it down here to this golden pocket, let me just see. I know 50 is probably up here somewhere. It's probably was this right here. Okay, it's just right there. Still hitting the lows in here though. It says it did every other time. I want to see it break that cycle. Hmm. Franklin Templeton and Bitwise are among the leading firms preparing XRP ETFs for launch today. We are expecting very strong institutional interest. Hmm. Let's see, Bitcoin. Ooh, yeah, that could have been. Yeah, like I said, it was hitting that resistance in here for Bitcoin. I can see that little cloud cover in here too. Didn't really pay too much mind to it. Then, so it is a bear div. It is a bear div. Yeah, it's like bear div right there. All right, it's about to be 8 o'clock. I've been streaming since 5, so I am going to call it. Ooh, looks like there's an issue with internet or something. It's not showing up here, but I got a tab that's not opening, so I don't know if I'm talking just to be talking or not. So looks like we're running into some issues. All right, so I am going to call it a stream. I would, like I said, Zcash with this stepping down. You do have a trend line through here that if it breaks above that trend line, you just want to be checking for any bearish divergence, possible push up, maybe put in an inverse head and shoulders and then get another attempt at the highs below momentum. Going to see if it does walk its way down here to the golden pocket, if that can sustain, or if it's actually going to drop all the way down here towards the 786 where we have the next um, momentum line here, trend line, whatever you want to identify it at, but that's down here. But right now it is consistently rejecting at these lows. You want to see it break above and not SFP like it did over here. So it can also SFP as well. Bitcoin is at a little bit of resistance, some resistance in here. So you can see it is rejecting slightly here. It did have like a little cloud cover right here as well, which can be another indication of a pullback right here. So a little bit of a cloud cover right there here on the 15-minute time frame. 1 hour, bear div so far. So far, not confirmed unless, I mean, if we can invalidate that, that'll be great. RSI is looking pretty decent in here. RSI, I'm sorry, MACD is looking pretty decent at the moment. Still a big gap between the MACD and the delta, but there was a signal cross here, and it could just be for this little small push up right here and then nothing more. It could just be for that. Okay. A reclaim above here would give me some confidence in Bitcoin at least getting a push back up here into this descending trend line here. Or possibly just these lows in here. I can't really say a lot about the ETF because traditional market isn't open. At least the platform that I'm using, they're not going to refresh it until traditional market opens. I don't really think I have to have this in here anymore. It was working as resistance at one point, which is why I left it there. Could be a good close here on the daily with the hammer candle. That would be nice if we got that. Reclaim inside this range for another test in here. I do think like there's a possibility of what I was saying before. We'll see how this goes too, since I mean we're bearish, and that's just is that is what it is. We're bearish. First couple of red candles in here that we have not had. We haven't had that. We haven't been that low on RSI or anything since in here. You see how that went. So we could see that bounce up and potentially do what I was saying over here on the monthly time frame, which I'm doing it based on how it played over here, where it dropped down into the 26, got the bounce away from the 26, the back test at 10, and then put in this head and shoulder, and then continue our way down here to fill in the bear market lows, potentially even breaking below where it would commonly stop out at, just because the RSI just continued to get lower each time. Every cycle, the RSI got lower. So if we're getting lower like that, especially coming drop below 40, like it's not a good sentiment. That's weakness. That's weakness. I'm thinking about the Predator Badlands. Oh my gosh, I went to see that. It was good. It was good. I watched some reviews on it as well from other people who, were talking about all the macho men who just want the Predator to kill, 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 and not have feelings. I love the twist. I just really love the twist. But it was a good movie. So every time I say weakness now, that's what I'm thinking about. We'll see how that goes. Ethereum, like I said, is holding up a lot better against Bitcoin at the moment, holding up a lot better than a lot of stuff at the moment, even though you see this big sell off right here. Point of control is in here along with the 200 EMA. And this right here will be bear market lows. And here where you've seen price bounce from several times, have some sort of a reaction play through here, this space through here. Don't know why that happened. It just happened. I apologize. Don't know what I hit. At least I didn't close anything out. All right. So Ethereum, or not Ethereum, but Solana, I do still think that it's able to make this measured move down here. It would be nice if it didn't. It is in bear market territory already, as I discussed. Could see the little rejections off of here. If it reclaims above here, then that is some sort of a strength. Showing that there is some new interest coming in for Solana. But the bounce off of the 786 right there, you do have the 200. Yep, you do have the 200 EMA here along with this ascending trend line, which means if we break this, it could spell trouble. Again, I would be looking down here somewhere around $30 to $40, somewhere within that range if we started to break all of this right here, because ideally we're not supposed to go below this low, but if we're breaking the momentum line in here, then I just start to get a little bit antsy about that. All of that. All right, below the point of control, which is here, where I have this this yellow line here. You can see we were respecting it before for that push up. rejection off of the 60. Rejection off of the 60. And yeah, just looking for some of those lower targets here in the stock market. We'll see how the day goes with the S&P 500. It's not looking too shabby right now. We broke that momentum and we would need to reclaim it. Yeah, we would need to reclaim it. And again, just one more time, Zcash, it keeps getting rejected at its lows. It just keeps getting rejected at its lows. So trend line running down through here. You can look for some sort of a break of that, but also look out for the bear divs on it. Golden pocket 786 down here at the next momentum line. So we could see some extra sell off. This is on the, I have it wedged in here. Again, I have it wedged in here on the 1 hour time frame. And also have a trend line going down across here on the 1 hour. On the 4 hour, I've also mapped out something I'll be watching for in here on the 1 hour. I'm at 4 hour, which 4 hour looks like it has more room to go down. That's just all to it. The 4 hour just looks like it has more room to go down since it got that breakdown from this rising wedge in here, the little rising wedge, and the continued path to the downside here. For have to hide this again because it doesn't look actually. Oops. Let me just stop it from traveling with me. So you can see that a lot easier. I just put this one in here. It could be a place where the RSI could actually either tap it and respond to it, which is close to it, but it hasn't touched it yet. But you can also see how the MACD is rolling out and breaking below the zero line. Okay, Delta still negative. MACD crossing the zero line, which means there could be a lot more blood in the streets for Zcash. Bearish pattern that it's in. And then without paying attention to the stuff that I'd already had in here, we did get the break below, back test, swing fail, trying to reclaim that area right there. So yeah, rejection. I just added this line in here. This is the one that I just added. So in the event that we do start to push down, I think like by the time it gets somewhere down here towards the 786, this would also be somewhere down here. That could give it some bullish divergence for another push to the upside. Because this does have a huge gap. This has a huge gap, which tells me that it wouldn't be rolling over immediately. It could be slow. It could be a slow bleed out. It could be a slow bleed out, just like hold on, just like let's go with the 1 hour. Just like the 1 hour. How you can see you have this gap here between the MACD and the delta, and how momentum was rolling out until finally it breaks the zero line. And that's where it tends to spill over a little bit more, a lot more right there, just like that. Oof, geez, cough. Oof. Did anybody get short? Cough. Sheesh. All right, coming down to that golden pocket. Yeah, this is just bleeding blood after blood after blood after blood after blood. Right now. Are these moves declining? Or are they getting more aggressive? I just want to see. Never mind. I don't even feel like going through the hassle of it. I just don't. I should trend line right across here though. Or just stick with your lows. Low rejecting at the lows every time. Yeah, it's that 4 hour for me. It really is this 4 hour. It's the 4 hour. The 4 hour be handing it to you, boy. And that RSI had just broke into weakness. It was neutral. It was just treading down, but it just broke into weakness. Uh, that means this must be below the cloud. No, it's coming into it. Yeah, this isn't catching a break. It's not catching a break. I got to go in and update my levels. I only have them all the way to down there. All right. So, yeah, 15 minutes going to be good for seeing where you're rejecting from. That's for sure. 4 hours going to be good for seeing where your actual momentum switches up. But there you have it, people. You can try here around this golden pocket because it's psychological. Once momentum is broken, I tend to look for it to come back to the place where it was holding before. That's what I tend to do. But you're also going to have the one that's going down in this direction too now. But yeah, my eyes tend to look towards the next one. And since the 786 is here, it's also some confluence. A small spikes in there. Yeah, that's not working. Guess you can do it from this chart too. Maybe. Mm. I don't know why the song Free Falling just popped in my head. Probably because I'm seeing Cash Free Falling. What? Okay. And this can be moved. I put it on a line bias. It can be moved. It doesn't really matter anyway. The golden pocket is sitting right there. And no reaction there would lead me to, like I said, there you got these highs in here that'll be coming into. Could be another 10, another 10% move down. Just know that. All right. All right, well, that's all I got for today on Bitcoin. I would just watch to see if they hold price, pin price in here until market opens. If it pumps up, then you'd be looking for it to get up here to around that 93. If it breaks below here, where you have all of these little momentum lines that continue to pop out, this just indicates relative weakness, in my opinion, as it is hitting some resistance in here. Then it'll break back down from here. $80,000 is still on the table. $85. 85,000 for starters. I think that's what we have in here. Next, yeah, 85 here. This was the 90 that had the biggest interest right here that we saw the reaction around here. And then 85, you could probably get another reaction right there. Pretty sure you will get another reaction if price drops down into 85. And then there's also 80. Right now, it just looks like we're free falling and nothing else. So, USDT dominance. That was the thing. Let me see. That's the VIX. This is total crypto right here, which is holding on to that support line right there. I think I did this on a daily. I did this on a daily right here. So that dash line we're holding up right there on total. USDT dominance. I mean, that macro, this, I did see it happening the other day when we were talking about it. So the measure move is into here, which is this high. But I mean, it could keep going, of course. That was just a measure move for the range that it had formed in here. Just for the range. I think that next, I literally did not map it out. Come here, you. Of course, we're likely to get some sort of a reaction if we tap into this point right here, because it is right here where this peak is at right here. But if that doesn't hold it back, then that's our next zone of interest right here. This is bad. This is bad. Love you. Drive safe. After this, I have to start looking up here. Which by that time, Bitcoin will be somewhere down at its lows or something. That's Solana trying to hold up against Ethereum. So you can see why when I say when it breaks the momentum, I'm just looking at the next one. Like that's what I have to do. I have to look at the next one, which is what I'm saying about Zcash. Golden Pocket might hold, it might, but I tend to look at wherever that next momentum is. They may want to come take liquidity over that, but they may want to bounce away from it. But Solana right now is holding it. So Zcash lost this momentum line right here. For me, I have to start looking at this one. Maybe it does bounce in here, but I do have to start looking at this. 496, 493. I have to start looking at that. And then if we lose that one, I have to look at the low, the bearish pattern. We would put in some sort of bull divvy at any point we get in here. This is a lower high. Here it's not, it's a bear div, but here it is. Price wise, it is a lower high. With the big bear div. Looking for the RSI to get down in here somewhere towards that 40. 50 might work off of this point right here. RSI will probably be somewhere close to it. Kind of like, I don't have another example. This one right here. But I really don't have another good example for it. Big gap. So like I said, I would expect for it to bounce. Probably bounce in here. If it doesn't bounce at the golden pocket, I'll be looking for it to hit this one right here. Probably bounce again. That's the point that created it. That's just the second or the first. The 2 points that created the momentum line here, the trend line here. Those are the 2 points right there. And then this would be the test of it. And you can see we have multiple tests on this one. 1, 2. After it was created, got 1, 2 there. This one might not be so lucky. 3 strikes out. Because of course that would break structure on the higher time frame. This makes it look like it's kind of slowing down. It didn't move as far that time, but still. All right. I appreciate you for being here today. Please be sure that you hit the like button. It goes a long way. I greatly appreciate you spending your time with me. Got to get out of here, and I love you. And I will see you later.